We have a question over here, question 2.2, and it reads as follows. Given negative 4, which is less or equals to a negative half m, which is less than 5, where m is an element of real numbers. So question 2.2.1 says that we should solve for m, and the subsequent question to that, question 2.2.2, says that we should write the answer to the previous question 2.2.1 in interval notation. So how do we do that? How do we solve for m, and how do we write the answer for m in interval notation? Before we can solve for m, the first thing we have to note is that this equation over here is an inequality. But what is an inequality? An inequality is a mathematical expression in which the sides of the equations are not equal to each other. In other words, an inequality compares any two values and shows that one value is less than and or is greater than the other value on the other side of the equation. To express inequalities, we use inequality symbols. These are, for example, greater than, which you can write as greater than, less than, less than or equals to, greater than or equals to. So now that we have defined what an inequality is, let us now solve for m. Let us now solve this linear inequality equation. Okay, this is the equation that was given, or the inequality that was given in the question. Negative 4 is less or equals to a negative half multiplied by m, which is less than 5. And our task, our job is to solve for m. What would solving for m mean? This means that in the middle, we will only be left with m. So how do we make sure that in the middle, we are left with m? Well, the easiest way to do that would be to simply multiply throughout by a negative 2. So let us do that. So we'll have negative 4 multiplied by negative 2, and then there in the middle we have negative 1 over 2m multiplied by a negative 2, and then we have 5 multiplied by a negative 2. You're going to notice something. I didn't include the inequality signs. Why? The thing is, if we multiply or divide an inequality with a negative value, this inequality signs will actually change. What do I mean? This means less than or equals to will now become greater than or equals to, and less than will become greater than. I hope that makes sense. This only happens if we divide or multiply by a negative value. If we're multiplying or dividing by a positive value, they would not change. Okay, so now that we have changed the inequality signs because we have multiplied by a negative value, and we have multiplied throughout our equation with the value negative 2, let us work it out. A negative multiplied by a negative is going to give us a positive. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8, which is greater or equals to, and then a negative half m multiplied by a negative is also, remember, a positive 1m greater than 5 multiplied by a negative 2. A negative multiplied by a positive is simply going to give us a negative 10. But you don't need to write a positive sign here, so you can say 8 is greater or equals to m, which is less than negative 10. So this, if we get to this point over here, we realize that now in the middle we have a value of positive m. That means we have solved for m. This was the linear equation that was given to us in the question, and we were asked to solve for m. We solved for m and found that 8 is greater or equals to m, which is greater than negative 10. What does this mean? This means that m is greater than negative 10, as well as that m is less than or equals to a negative 8. So the second question says that we must write the answer, this answer here that we obtained, in interval notation. To be able to write this answer in interval notation, we have to know a couple of things. The first thing is that round brackets indicates that a number is included, and square brackets indicates, no, that was a mistake. Round brackets indicate that a number is not included, and square brackets indicate that a number is included. What do I mean? So let's check, for example. So this says that m is greater than negative 10. If m is greater than negative 10, it means that m cannot be negative 10. It can only be numbers that are greater than negative 10. That means that negative 10 is not included. So we'll draw a round bracket. And inside that round bracket, we'll write negative 10 and then write a semicolon. And then we also found that m is less or equals to 8. So this means that m can either be 8 or all the numbers that are less than 8. So meaning that 8 is included. And we said that if a number is included, you will see with a square bracket. So we'll write a square bracket and write 8 inside. And yes, we've arrived at the answer. We have written this solution in interval notation. Okay, so we were given this equation or this inequality in our question. We solved for m, and this is the answer that we obtained. And then that answer, we wrote it in interval notation. We can also go the extra mile and represent this solution in graphically. How do we do that? So we'll just simply draw a number line, write the value negative 10 and as well as positive 8. And then for the number that is included, we'll simply draw a line above 8. So we know 8 is included, a circle, and this circle we will fill it inside. And then on top, we do the same thing for negative 10. But remember, we said negative 10 is not included, so we just draw a circle and not fill it in any way. And then we know that m lies between these two numbers. So m is less or equals to 8, and as well as m is greater or equals to negative 10. So this is how you would represent this solution graphically. This is how you would represent that solution in interval form. And then this is how you would express this solution as an inequality. This brings us to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please remember to subscribe, like, share, and yeah, leave a comment. Thank you.